If you haven't yet, I want you to go to jobethevans.com and take the college readiness quiz. There's a quiz there for parents and a quiz there for students. When you take that quiz, you get a detailed explanation of where you're at and actionable steps for you to take to move you beyond where you're at right now. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Started. So,
All right.
today we are going to be talking about self defense. Most of the time, when I talk to parents about what they are most concerned about when it comes to sending their daughters to college, is safety. They're worried their daughter's going to get abducted, that she might get raped, that she may go missing. I mean, it's a parent's worst nightmare. So, I think that it's
Right.
important that we start there with talking about safety and how we can equip our daughters. But before we get there, I want you to tell everybody why I'm talking to you and what value you're going to bring, your experience. Just tell us about yourself.
Okay. Hi, I am Salome Abeger. I am 23 years old now. I've been doing self-defense for God knows how long. I mean, really, I started judo at the age of 6, started really competing like regionally and districtly and nationally at 12 years old. I actually won the Australian Championship in 2012. And then I surfed. I mean, I'm all around athlete, so I did that professionally. I surfed professionally locally because it's too expensive to go international. Um, but then I really started getting into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu 5 years ago, and I realized how much I've learned in judo. Was not very self-defense oriented. It was more sports oriented and
Mm-hmm.
get somebody that already knows what they're doing, so it was never something that was like, oh, there's an attacker trying to attack you, what do you do? It was like, well, no, they just grab my uniform and I'm going to do this. It wasn't anything like that. So I really started learning that, and I'm a purple belt now. I teach kids and women. We run a mixed martial arts school in Port St. Lucie locally in Florida. So I've been doing that for the past 5 years, and I really love it. And I love how I can help other women. Like, it's the parents' worst nightmare. It's a girl's worst nightmare to be attacked by anybody. So I really like helping other women, and especially the ones that are already been abused, that come to our gym and show them how to really, prevent it as much as we can. Really,
Right.
I mean, there's so many things you can do, and honestly, like, people say, oh, you can't wear short shorts. Oh, you can't wear a crop top. Like, no, wear whatever you want. It's honestly not gonna make a difference. And you want to be yourself. You don't want to be restricted on how you live your life because of thinking you're gonna be attacked. Like, I don't know. That's not a good way that I would live. It's just being aware of the situation and being aware of everything that's going on, and being able to defend yourself in case of anything happens. Really.
Yeah, well, you sound like a super cool person. So I'm glad that our paths have crossed and I know somebody as cool as you. So tell us, um, what are three things that girls could do if they felt like they were being like, or if they were being attacked?
So honestly, there's not a secret technique that I can teach you. I wish there was.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one technique that I can teach you, or two or three ways. It's really what's going to happen in that situation, right? So is the attacker coming in front of you? Is he grabbing your hair? Is he coming from behind you? Um, is he like having something trying to hold you down? I mean, like, there's so many different scenarios that can happen,
Mm-hmm.
so it's really hard to say like what are three ways, but what I would say is, always be aware of what's going on.
Uh-huh.
That is the first thing I teach. I said, awareness, assertiveness, and defend yourself. So like, be aware of your situation, where you're at. Like, people walking on the street with like this, like,
Mm-hmm.
no, don't do that at all. Have a key next to you, have your phone in your hand. But if you were to be attacked, for example, like somebody coming in front of me, then I would make a frame with my forearm, and I would keep them away by the neck area,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would try to push them as far as I can away from them. Now, most attackers, honestly, people are going to say, oh, well, they're going to punch you. Like, most attackers are not going to try to punch you, right? They're going to try to grab you and take you away. realistically, you know, especially as a woman, they're gonna try to take you away and do whatever they were thinking of
Right.
doing. Like pushing them away with your forearm on their neck is definitely a good thing, or having both hands on the hip and pushing them away with your hip and locking your elbows out.
Uh-huh.
That is also a great way because you're using your skeletal muscles instead of your muscles. You're not going to be stronger than them. So don't go into a fist fight with an attacker. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
And then take them down, and if anything and you don't know any really self-defense moves, the groin is a great place. Eyes, fingers, nose, ears, like you grab somebody's ear and you rip
Mhm.
it up. I mean, everybody takes pain differently, but it will definitely scare somebody off.
Right. So you talked about being like to be being aware when you're walking down the street. So like, I've heard, have your chest out, have your head up, like look like you're aware. Like, would you agree? Is that what we want to look like?
Sure, definitely, for sure. Attackers look for the easiest, victims, I would say. They look
Uh-huh.
for these things. So if you have nothing in your hands, you're not paying attention to your surroundings, your hair is down, you're wearing a skirt. I mean, I'm not saying don't wear a skirt, like, but they're looking for the easiest ways to get into you and like grabbing you and things like that.
So
So
wait, you said you have your hair, like if you have your hair down, is that because it's easier to pull?
it's easier to pull. So if you have your hair up, then it's a little bit harder to pull, right? Um,
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. And if you have anything in your hands, like an umbrella, keys, and you hold like the
Mm-hmm.
actual key, up, and your phone is in your hand, but you're not stuck on your phone
Right.
down, you're looking around like you're seeing everybody around you, then that person might think, oh, that's going to be a little bit harder. Like you have a key that you can use as a weapon, and you have an umbrella that you can use as a weapon, or a purse that you can use as a weapon, so like little things like that people are not really thinking of, but it's very simple. Honestly, it's just being aware of, I walk around the street, I look left and right, I look for different cars. If it's dark, you can always ask a security guy to walk you out to your car if you don't feel comfortable. I mean, especially in colleges, there's a lot of security and a lot of people will escort you out if you don't feel comfortable, for sure.
Right. Right. So, you do jujitsu and among other things. So these girls in college, they need to be working out. They need to be physically active. What are some classes they could take or something actionable that they could do that's going to give them a super good workout, but is also going to, at the same time, build skills that they might need in a bad situation?
So I would say, first of all, there's a misconception of one thing, that most girls are gonna go into a weekend class and think they can defend themselves.
Mm.
No, it's not realistic. If you don't practice, just like college, right? You go to college, you go to high school. Well, actually, you go to elementary school, middle school, high school, college, right? You
Mm-hmm.
practice all these years to get better at something. You have to start taking classes all the time, like I would say at least twice a week, to be able to practice every day and
Mm-hmm.
being aware of what's going on and know all these techniques. And the best thing that you want to look for is Gracie Jiu Jitsu. So there's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was brought from Japan into Brazil, and then the Brazilians, the Gracie family, if you look it up, the Gracie family started MMA and started the UFC
Mm-hmm.
a long time ago. And the Gracie Jiu Jitsu, not Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it kind of separated. So
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is more sports oriented, so people will push you to go to competitions and things like that, and a
Yeah.
lot of techniques will actually get you killed in the street.
Oh my
I
gosh.
mean, like, honestly, it's like laying down on your back and like somebody can just stomp on your face, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So Gracie Jiu Jitsu, and there's plenty of gyms around. If you just type in Gracie Jiu Jitsu near me, you'll be able to really learn the real self defense techniques. If somebody
Okay.
grabs your hair from behind, from the front, uh, bear hugs you, or anything like that, then that is definitely the way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that because, like I said, girls need to be physically active. I believe that just for stress management in itself. But if we can double up and learn some really great skills in the process, then that's obviously the best way to go.
Yeah,
And I
and your
just,
confidence goes up too. It's really important.
right, and I think just knowing, if the generation that's in high school and college, they're looking down at their phones
all the
all the time. And they don't, and I'm not just saying it's them. I see people, my age doing it too and older, like just so glued to their phones that they don't know who's around them or anything. And I think that in itself is really important um, to make note of, is that there is a look to a victim, or sometimes there is, you know,
100%.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so we can't, I don't think or I know there's not a sure way to prevent, an abduction or a rape or anything like that. But
I
if there's
wish.
things that we can equip ourselves with going into a situation, at least as parents, we can say, we know that we have taught her everything to do in this situation, and she knows. And if something does happen, at least that you have taught her everything that she needs to know in
Right.
order to be safe. And you can't, it's just kind of like a car accident. You can teach them how to drive safely, how to drive without distractions, all those things. It can't be prevented, but at least you have equipped them with the skills that they need.
100%. And also like carrying a pepper spray. I mean, if somebody sees, like when I see a pepper spray, ooh, something just fell. When I see a pepper spray, I know that lady's ready to use that, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So having a pepper spray on you, it's not gonna hurt you. Just don't spray it in your own eyes. Just make sure you're not doing that. People have done that, surprisingly. But yeah, just being aware of everything around you. I mean, some people think it's dumb, but honestly, it's the safest way to go. And just hang out with friends. And if anything happens, fight your way out. Like
Hmm.
literally, you fight like you're gonna die. Like
Right.
it's a death situation, and you yell for help and scream stop, scream help, like scream all these things that people will actually come and run towards you to help you, instead of just sucking it up and going with them. Like, no, just fight your way out. And sometimes it'll be so hard for them, they'll just give up. They'll
Hmm.
honestly will just give up. If it ends up to being a fight, I honestly sometimes would, if anything happens to me and I'm on the floor and they're already controlling me, I would be like, oh, okay, fine. I'll do whatever you want to do. Like,
Hmm.
I'll follow you, and I'll let them believe that. And
Hmm.
then as soon as I have an opportunity, I will get out of there.
Right.
But
That's
don't,
smart.
yeah, don't exert too much energy, and don't think that it's okay for them to take you. Like, no, actually fight your way out like you're about to die, really.
Right. Yeah, that's great advice. Um, oh, I had a question and I just forgot what, what I was going to ask. This is all so good and so relevant, like I said, because parents are so concerned with the safety of
100%.
their daughters, and that is priority. We want them to get a good education. We want them to have fun and make friends and all that. But what is most important is that at the end of their 4 years, they get to continue living their life, and living their life without a traumatic experience
Right.
to
That is,
remember college by.
yeah, that is definitely scary. We do have girls that come in the gym that have been raped, that have been abused, and it's
Hmm.
it's really scary for me, like I can't even imagine what they went through, and I try to help them as much as I can, but sometimes I honestly can't, because they already went through that, and now yeah, they want to learn how to prevent it, but they're really like, well, I already went through it, like I can't forget that. So I think like preventing it as much as we can. And, like, I just got off college like 2 years ago or something,
Hmm.
and I know like it can be pretty scary. Um, but always stay in groups, stay with your friends, and really just take self-defense classes. Like Gracie Jiu-Jitsu will save your life if anything happens.
That's incredible and such a good tool to have. So if people want to learn more about what you're doing and possibly reach out to you for more information, how can they get a hold of you?
You can contact me on Facebook or on Instagram at Salome Abeger. You want me to spell it out?
No, I will post that in
Okay.
in the notes, because yeah, nobody's going to spell that right. So I will
No.
post it. So you're on Facebook, you're on Instagram.
Yep. And then we have a website called morleycoaching.com. Right now we're focused more on self-defense, but we are going to be, I'm sorry, more on fitness and home fitness and things like that. But we are going to be adding more self-defense curriculum into that. It's been a dream of ours to do it for years. We just need a person to videotape us. It's kind of tricky, but we are getting there, I promise.
Okay, so we'll be watching for that, and so I will put all that information along with the video so that people can contact you. And I want to thank you for sharing that stuff with us. I think that the best thing we can do is equip ourselves, and I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your experience with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Joe Beth here. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and no matter where you're at in your journey, I hope that you found the tips and tricks and information to be super helpful. If you haven't yet, I want you to go to joebethevans.com and take the college readiness quiz. There's a quiz there for parents and a quiz there for students. When you take that quiz, you get a detailed explanation of where you're at and actionable steps for you to take to move you beyond where you're at right now. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon.